gonna rain anymore? In 1 hour. Okay. Man, this watch is so fucking convenient. Okay. So windows open. Orly, do you want to go outside? You can go outside? Yeah. Come on. Let's go get the vacuum and I'll vacuum. No way! I told you. Come on, Orly, go outside. Be right back. Oh my God. Congratulations, Emily! Did you hear that? She's having a baby girl. Work out for a minute first. Get my blood pumping because I am stiff and miserable. T-tabbing a girl, T-tabbing a baby. I told you it would happen. Told you. I didn't even know you were pregnant. Told you. I knew it. All you have to do is just keep practicing. And by God, literally, a baby shall appear. A baby will appear. Were you monitoring your egg yolk? Making sure you were slimy? Aw, okay. I took today off. I had a really bad headache. Yesterday while I was live streaming, I was on Bigo yesterday because I wanted to listen to Game of Thrones. So I'm on Bigo and all of a sudden, like the book, I kept hearing this like mechanical, like electronic kind of sound. I don't know how to explain it. And it was only in my left ear and my fucked up ear. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then I realized that it was from the paint fumes that I was getting like if you huff stuff. and you start to hear that like mechanical whir on the voices, that's what it sounded like. Like when you're getting sucked through the matrix. You know that sound? So, I opened the doors and it made the sound go away. But today I have a really bad headache. So, and I'm like, was kind of pukey this morning. So I called my boss the weed eating job and I said, which you know that I have to not be feeling very good to miss that job because that's my favorite. I look forward to that job all week. So even though I make the least amount of money at that job, I love my jobs. So like I work 3 different jobs right now, which like if you had told 18-year-old Heather that she would at 41 have 3 jobs, she would have called you a liar. But I do, and it's crazy. But I'm still working remodeling the house. I just started back on that because my boss had to have surgery. So we took a 2-month break. And I've been working a second and third job. I'm cleaning. I'm basically, I'm her housekeeper, I guess. I am a housekeeper for a lady and her husband. And then I am a housekeeper for another lady. The other lady I haven't started regularly cleaning for yet though. Just a one time so far. But and then I am a groundskeeper the rest of the time or whatever. So remodeling a house. I'm learning how to do flooring right now. I've been painting doors and we're doing flooring. So it's pretty exciting. That house, I wonder if I could show you. Let me see. Be right back. Take any photographs. I only have video. I don't think green screen will do videos. Nope. Off. I'm so happy for you. Okay, let me set up my treadmill. Do we need anything else over there? Yeah, the weights, of course. I found my tiny little weight, which I'm super stoked about. This house needs to be vacuumed so bad. I wonder what I did with the remote and the plug. I did something with it purposeful. I said I'm gonna put this here so that it's here when I need it. Crap. Heather! Shit. Come on, dude. Why would you do that? Come on. It's gotta be somewhere close. Yay! Good job! Found it. shit, I don't have any. Uh-oh. Okay, bodysuit time. God bless the bodysuits. Take me home. All right, it counts. What do I do with the remote?
Where did those shears go?
What shears? Oh, they're right by my front door.
Okay. I'll be back.
Okay. Let me know if you find the ones that are here, supposed to be here.
All right.
So I'll go get some or something in town if I have to. Shit, I didn't put on something to listen to. Sweet. Come on.
We are doing a very exciting video. This is going to be part.
What's going on, internet? ¿Por qué no? Regular internet's not working, Wi-Fi is not working, but only on the tablet. I love you. Have a great day. You do not get notifications. Yeah, so it's you only get notifications on YouTube if you are regularly engaging and watching the person's content, even if you have the bell set. It doesn't matter. You will only get notifications if you're like regularly interacting. I was wondering what the fuck, because I don't get notifications for people that I look forward to watching. And so I did a little bit of research, and that is what it is.
Hey.
It will only notify you if you are like watching other stories, liking their stories, you're engaging with their story. I think it's mostly their stories, to be quite honest, now that I think about it. Because even if I'm watching someone's video every day, I still don't get notifications for like, I can think of a specific person. But The other people who I do need, everyone who I'm getting notifications for is someone who I watch their stories and interact with their stories. So I think that it has more to do with stories, to be quite honest. No, I haven't heard of it. Hi, Mary Lou.
Sorry, excuse me, let me start over. Brendan Paul said, Diddy's former chief of staff, KK, quote, didn't really want him involved in Wild King nights. But he did set up and clean up a few times while he worked for
Do you want to
Diddy.
come inside?
KK called him Wild King nights. Okay, so KK was really trying to shield this Brendan Paul from knowing about the Wild King nights, probably because she knew he maybe called to testify about something one day and didn't want him to know any information. I don't know. I'm just speculating.
It's fucking raining, dude. You want to come inside? No?
But he said in any event, I still did end
likes
up
laying in
cleaning
the
up
rain.
for some of these Wild King nights, and I also ended up setting up. So I do know about him, and KK was calling them not freak offs, not hotel nights. She was calling them Wild King nights. He said he only recalled Jane, so he recognized Jane, and he did recall seeing her participating in the Wild King nights during his whole time working for Diddy. He also testified that his understanding Wild King nights included, quote, partying, alcohol, sex, and substances. The nights were at hotels during the beginning of when Brendan Paul started working for Diddy. But according to his testimony, Diddy stopped holding them at hotels after the Cassie lawsuit. Now remember, Cassie first detailed years of abuse allegations in a lawsuit filed against Diddy November. Like now it's coming up on almost 2 years ago, like a year and a half ago, November 2023. The two quickly settled her claim, $20 million the next day after she filed it. But dozens of other civil lawsuits against Diddy and a federal criminal indictment followed in the subsequent 18 months. The jury saw an iPhone note that was a schedule for February 2023, so way earlier that year, that Brendan Paul says KK created this schedule. It was for around the time that Jane's visit to Miami to see Diddy for her birthday. And the schedule says, be ready or Wild King night at her hotel. And, quote, most likely Wild King day continued at hotel.
Okay, baby, I'm coming.
Now, remember, Jane testified that Diddy gave her the impression that there would be no hotel nights on that trip. So they are setting up and showing evidence for us that while Diddy was telling Jane one thing, he really didn't have the intention to follow through with what he was telling Jane because he was telling his whole entire staff something else. I think that's what the prosecution is trying to set up and show.
Go ahead.
Now we do have another new update. I want to be all the way fully caught up before I leave this page. 1 minute ago, Brendan Paul describes how he would set up a room. Okay, so let's see. We've heard a few different people testify how they would set up these Wild King nights, hotel rooms. It kind of seems that some of them focus on some things more than other things. Former assistant describes how he would set up a room for Diddy before the Wild King night. He testified that when he set up for a Wild King night, he would ensure the room had baby oil, alcohol, small toiletries, and extra sheets and towels. So sounds kind of the same as what we've heard. He said the assistants shared a list that included all the items. Okay, so they had a list, they had a checklist to set up for the nights. The Brendan Paul, the one testifying right now, said he often obtained supplies through Diddy's property managers. Now, who's the property managers? Because we were told by Jonathan Perez that TriStar Sports and Entertainment helped onboard people and helped to manage Diddy's properties. So is the property managers TriStar? That's what I want to know. Now, we have seen a in my opinion, disturbing and unsettling trend of the mainstream media sources, including CNN and NBC and The Independent and the New York Post, kind of shy away from mentioning TriStar or from mentioning Robin, even whenever it is very explicitly mentioned in the transcript. And my suspicion as to why they're shying away from this is because all these different little reporters have their little, PR contacts at certain places.
The bus is slightly tilted, so it's making the strip.
PR contact. Then maybe what if they have Justin Bieber and the Kardashians and Jeff Bezos? Like, what if they have a bunch of other people under their thing? Now they're not going to give CNN any news about any of these artists. That's how CNN makes their money. So I think they're playing politics and not mentioning Robin, Lou, TriStar, stuff like that on purpose, even whenever Robin and TriStar have been mentioned in the transcripts. That's just speculation, girl. I don't know. But we are seeing reference to some sort of so-called property managers. So Brendan Paul said he often would obtain supplies like baby oil, extra sheets, small toiletries, towels. All of this stuff would be included in the on the checklist, and then he would often get those supplies because some of the people were like, I paid for it on my company Amex and then I got reimbursed, or I paid for it with my own money and got reimbursed, or people were like, I didn't buy that stuff. So now we're getting something different. And it appears that Diddy has been changing up the way that he's been doing things all throughout the years, but in particular and specifically in response to being sued, right? Like after he got sued by Cassie, all of a sudden, boom, now we're not doing hotel nights at hotels no more. Now it's at people's houses. And all the while, remember, he was paying for Jane Doe's apartment or her home. It was $10,000 a month, but now we're kind of finding out like that might have been one of the main places that he was having freak offs because the hotels have kind of ended. So was he really paying for that rent because of her, or was he just like more also motivated to just have somewhere we could have freak offs at? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I really don't know. But the property managers at this point, he's not buying it on his own. Yeah, look, he did sometimes. He said he often got them through the property managers. This is new. This is new. I haven't heard this yet. But also, he would sometimes pay for supplies with his personal credit card, and then he would be reimbursed through who? Diddy's financial personnel. Are they leaving out mentioning TriStar and Robin again? I need the transcript. He said he once provided Diddy with $5,000 in cash before a Wild King night, and he said he got the cash from security, and he was the security head. That was Fahim or Fa. It's easier to say Fahim than Fa, right? Did you talk to Fa? Like Fa, it's like not. It doesn't like it's not like it doesn't come off natural. It's like a kind of contrived syllable to try and like say someone's name. Anyway, okay, so. He said he once gave Diddy $5,000 before Wild King night, and got $5,000 from the security.
My face. Back up.
He testified that another assistant told him he once left cash in an envelope at the front desk of a hotel. Brendan Paul said that Diddy would sometimes contact him during a Wild King night via audio or FaceTime call. The jury also saw a photo of outfits from a shop that Brendan Paul had sent to Diddy. So Brendan Paul's in a shop, an SEX shop, taking pictures of outfits and sending them to Diddy. So this is showing what? The enterprise is involved in Diddy's so-called alleged personal matters, but also that Diddy was in charge of picking the outfits out, according to testimony. So Brendan Paul said that Diddy had asked him to run to the store while he was out with Jane. But Diddy never responded after Brendan sent him the picture of the outfits. So maybe Jane responded with another new update. He wore gloves.
Oh, come on. The worst place ever.
It says Paul, that's Brendan Paul, wore gloves to clean up after Diddy's hotel nights.
Over here. Go right here.
He cleaned up hotel rooms after Wild King nights about 3 or 4 times.
Right there. Stay.
He testified that the rooms were in disarray. He would put towels and sheets into a pile and throw out empty bottles of baby oil and liquor. He said he wore gloves during the cleanup for, quote, sanitary reasons. One time he said he did see a white powder that he believed was a substance residue, but he doesn't know. The jury saw a photo of a hotel room, y'all. I want to see it. Unless it's nasty, then I don't want to see it. Who is the travel manager? Is it Jen or Jess or who is it? The jury saw a photo
right
of
there.
a
Lay
hotel
down.
room with sheets covering the furniture. Brendan Paul testified that he sent that photo to Diddy's
Good
travel
boy.
manager.
He wanted his
There
spot.
might be some charges, some damage charges. We have 4 new updates from NBC. Let's go over there. So the most recent one we read was that he was given directions about which substances to buy. The witness recalled being asked to buy thousands of dollars worth of substances, MJ420, cocaine, pink. I don't know if pink's cocaine is the same as 2C or not. I think they're both pink. I really don't know. Also, EX, horse tranquilizer, they're all on the shopping list and recounted. Oh, we already read this one. Meeting with Guido, One Stop, Baby Girl, and Ovi. He testified that he did substances with Diddy to, quote, prove his loyalty. He testified that Diddy asked him to try substances and he did it to prove his loyalty. He said, quote, I felt euphoric, but it didn't feel the full effect. Like I felt kind of happy or whatever, but I didn't feel like what they expected or what they had described, that I was going to feel or whatever. And he asked if it was good. Diddy asked him, is that good? And he said, I said, yes. Then I just kept working. Okay, 13 minutes ago, NBC gives the packing list for hotel nights. He testified he had a long list of items he needed to pack for Diddy on the defendant's hotel nights. He said that he needed to make sure that Diddy had all his toiletries, his lights. Remember the little mood lighting? He liked red lights, sometimes blue. He needed candles. I don't know if they needed to be white or what. He needed incense. That's the first time I think I'm hearing of incense. He needed protection. He needed liquor, soup.
It's going to totally scrape in a second.
Astro, and a Gucci pouch that had his substances in it. And he also said he had to pack $5,000 for Diddy. He testified he didn't snitch. Okay, so here I am saying he snitched. And he's saying, no, I didn't snitch. About who asked him to carry the substances. Now, when he was arrested last year in March for possession of cocaine, he said he refused to tell authorities why he was carrying those substances. Even though they were not his, he didn't give up any names. When the prosecutor asked why he wasn't initially helpful to law enforcement, he said one word, quote, loyalty. Let's go to Inner City Press, because I'm never going to catch up if I just keep going, because it's like another one, and another one. Okay, hold on. Let me go back to the last one I read. Ooh, look at all these tweets. Okay, the most recent tweet we read on Inner City Press was, what is in this photo? He said, it's my hand. It was early on when he first started working for Diddy, and he said, I'm holding substances in my hand. Why did you take this photo? He said to ask the staff what to do with it, because I found it. I didn't know what to do with it. I was told to put it in his bag, so I did. Okay, did you buy MJ 420 for him? Brendan Paul said yes. I wonder if he's related to Logan Paul. Anyway, who did you buy the MJ 420 from? He said Philip Pines, another former assistant. Diddy liked Sunset Sherbet. I don't know what that is. Must be some type of strain or something of it. Who were the other substance dealers that Diddy used? One Stop, Guido, Baby Girl, and I think it's spelled O-E-I, O-E-I, O-E, so not O-V, O-E-I, O-V-I, I'm not really sure. Okay, next question. Who is this? And a photo is shown. Brendan Paul said that's Guido, and Guido is apparently making a funny face in the picture. Is this your chat with Baby Girl? What is happening? Brendan Paul said, well, Jonathan Perez is introducing me to the plug, Baby Girl. She asked me, is it for you or Puff? I responded, Puff, but tell anyone it's for me. Why did you, because here's the question the prosecutor asked, Brendan, why would you tell the plug dealer to tell other people that the substances were for you? He said, well, Puff is high profile, so we used an alias. Boom. Did Diddy use the blue pill that makes you aroused? Yes. We would put it in his nightstand. Y'all, we're inching closer and closer to honey, okay? It's the honey is coming. Listen, I already predicted it, but I'm putting another stake in the ground here, June 20th at 10:33 a.m. The Cialis, the honey, the tadalafil, the Viac, all that. It's coming up, and it's going to come up in other people's investigations, because you cannot have marathon-esque relations as a assigned male at birth anatomy without. It's very rare that they're going to be able to do it for 18 hours, y'all. They have to have some type of assistance. And then that's just if you're normal functioning within like the normal range of bell curve. Okay. Now, what if you're like already having issues? Like Sheree Hayes, the Punisher, said that he has dysfunction specifically because of the debauchery that he fried his dopamine receptors or whatever it is. So did Diddy use libido enhancement, we'll say. Yes, he did. We put it in his nightstand, so kind of hiding it a little bit, give him a little bit of dignity about it. Okay, what about this message to Love Red Phone? What does that mean? He said, Brendan said, well, I called Diddy Love. His red phone was his personal phone, and the business phone was yellow. Okay, so this is news. We're now just finding out about this. We already knew that Diddy had two phones, a red one and a yellow. I think not out of blue. But the red one, Love Red Phone, that's the personal phone. So if you got personal, that's the red phone. But then he had a business phone, that one's yellow. What did he text you on Love Red Phone? He just texted Zans. Okay. How did you pay for the substances? Brendan Paul said, well, it was cash. I paid for them from the Gucci bag, or sometimes I would get it from security. Usually if that was the case, then I would get it from Fahim. Okay, and in this text message right here, Brendan, what is flowers? Brendan Paul said MJ, 420, that's what that means. Do you got any flower? Do you got any flowers? That's what that means. Did you also ever call it tree? Yeah. Yep, I did. I called it tree. Yes, he says. Here, Fahim, the head of security, and this is the guy again who was like with Michael Jackson, I believe, when he passed. Here, Fahim tells me, I'll get back paid. I'll get reimbursed once Duke comes on the shift. I don't know who Duke is, but Duke is going to pay him back or whatever. So did you ever pick up any tree or any flowers for Diddy? And that means MJ 420. He said, yes, I did. And we called it tree and we called it flowers. Did Diddy ever have you take substances? He said yes. He had me take it to test his Tusi. Did you want to take it?
Which side I put this thing on, the strip is gonna go that way.
I wanted to prove my loyalty.
No matter how hard I try, I'm always balanced.
Okay. What were Wild King nights? Brendan Paul said, well, Diddy had significant others, substances, and relations. And it would be wild, I guess. Did Jane participate in Wild King nights, to your knowledge? He said yes. Okay, and did Diddy's other girlfriends participate in the Wild King nights? Brendan Paul said, not that I'm aware of. Okay, so by this point, it's like Jane is the only freak-off participant as far as Brendan Paul is aware. Who called them Wild King nights? Brendan Paul said, well, KK called them Wild King nights. I wasn't really calling them Wild King nights. I was just saying he was going to a hotel and it was pretty understood. Okay. Next question. Did Diddy ever stop using hotels and move the Wild King nights to the residences? Yes, Brendan Paul said. After the Cassie lawsuit, he stopped using hotels for the Wild King nights and he started using residences. Okay, next question. What did you do in reference to these Wild King nights? Brendan Paul said, well, I would clean up after. All right. What does this say, this message? It says Jane is coming in. Brendan is setting it up. Wild King night probable. Now remember, this Wild King night probable, what we're hearing, is that Jane Doe had been told by Diddy there wasn't going to be no Wild King night. But everyone is setting up the Wild King night as if there is going to be one. Okay, next question. Where did you make the dinner reservation? He said Nobu. Remember, Jane Doe was like, I didn't want to go to Nobu. I wanted to go somewhere, like anywhere at all outside of a hotel, even if it was just like, okay, like, can you just keep up the facade, the charade? Like, I'm not just for hotels. And where did you make the reservation? He said, I made the dinner reservation at Nobu, or it might have been the hotel room. No. It was the restaurant. Where was this particular Wild King night? He said, well, that one ended up being at Jane's residence. So Jane's house that Diddy paid for through, Robin Greenhill. Remember, don't ever forget that, because the other outlets would have you forgetting that. This particular Wild King night, freak off, was at Jane's residence. And in this particular message that they're reading, Brendan says, I wrote running to Walmart for them, meaning, probably Jane and Diddy. Okay, next question. KK asks, Wild King mode active or Gucci bag active, right? So is he having a freak off or he's doing substances? What did you answer, Brendan? He said, I said between the two, like, somewhere between
Go
both,
down.
both.
Back up.
You know what I mean?
Back up.
Okay, next question. How
Don't
did
go
you
in
know
there.
what
No,
to
no.
buy for Diddy's
Don't go
Wild
in there
King
already.
night?
Come on.
Brendan said, well, there was a shared document in the Notes app. Okay. Who was responsible for the Astroglide? The property manager. Okay,
In
recently we were told
Come on, in here. Right here, come
TriStar
on.
Sports
Go.
and Entertainment helped to
Good boy.
manage Diddy's properties. Who told us that? Jonathan Perez. So is this trying to tell me Lou Taylor's business is responsible for the supplying the Astroglide is what I want to know. Because baby oil, you can plead plausible deniability.
I have to
baby.
go
You
pick
can
up
act
Elliot soon.
like that was for pool wrestling. You can act like it was for massages. You can act like because she was ashy. But Astroglide,
this
good
mask
freaking
so
luck.
much.
There were 900 bottles of it. In one house. This house. So look, the property manager, so who was financially responsible for procuring crates of Astroglide is what I want to know. He said the property manager. He doesn't say any name for the property manager, which leaves a lot of room for ambiguity. Now, is it possible he did mention the property manager? I don't know. But if they try to say, oh, Lou Taylor did this, she's going to say, no, he didn't say my name. So that's why I'm saying we need names. Brendan Paul said the property manager was responsible for the Astroglide, but I didn't think the 200 South Mapleton manager was good. He said the property manager for 200 South Mapleton wasn't good. So then there's a photo introduced. He said, I took this photo to show the manager how to lay out the Astroglide in the bathroom. Boom. How'd you put in for the cash? Robin at TriStar. Listen, y'all, the senses are tingling. How did you put in for the cash? Robin. Somebody else naming Robin. First Jane named Robin. Why? Because Robin was the one responsible for paying her $10,000 a month rent. The quid pro quo. Who else mentioned Robin? Jonathan Perez mentioned Robin being the account manager. He also mentioned TriStar being the business manager. How did you put in for the cash for the Wild King night? Robin Greenhill at TriStar Sports and Entertainment, owned by Lou Taylor. Okay, next question. Did Diddy contact you from any Wild King nights? Yes, he did. It would either be by voice note. It would either be by voice note or... Girl. It would either be by voice note or FaceTime call from the Freak Offs. He would call me to go get a SEX outfit. Girl. So one time he called me to go get a SEX outfit, like a sexy outfit, like a lingerie, but then he never returned my call and he ghosted me. How did you clean up after the Wild King night? He said, I wore gloves. Why did you wear gloves?
Because he had
Brendan Paul
herpes
said,
and everybody knows it.
for sanitary reasons. Okay. Is this a photo of the day of your arrest? Yes. This was March 25th, 2024. I got arrested, and it was a rented jet. Now, this is interesting because Diddy has a private jet. So where was that, and why wasn't he getting onto that? He said, this is a photo of the day of my arrest. Yes. And the cocaine you were arrested with, was it Diddy's? Brian Steele. So I guess Brian Steele, finally, we're going to get a little bit of a show, y'all. We're going to get some theatrics because Brian Steele is going to be on the cross-examination. He objects. He's like, Your Honor, you can't ask if that was Mr. Combs's substances. Okay, fine. The judge says, sustained. Re-ask your question. Okay. Were the substances that you had in your fanny pack pouch or your backpack or whatever, were the substances, the cocaine, was it yours? Brendan said no. Was it Mr. Combs's? Again, Brian Steele said, objection, Your Honor. Obviously, the substances were truly humble under God. The judge then, for some reason, I guess it's because of a lack of foundation, the judge now allows the question to be asked, was the substances Diddy's? Brendan Paul said, yes, it was. It was his. Okay, next question. What did you do you do after you got arrested? And we did know this. This was widely publicly reported. He said, I went into a diversion program, a substance treatment program. Was it Aura, girl? Did he go get virtual reality exposure therapy? I want to know. He said, I went through a diversion program. I didn't have to go to jail, but I did do substance treatment, rehab or whatever, and community service and probation, whatever. Okay, no further questions. So he's done for the direct. Now we're going to get Brian Steele up to bat. You walked up. Maybe it's walk on. You walked on. It says walked up, but it's probably walk. You were walk on to play basketball at Syracuse for an iconic coach, didn't you? This is Brian Steele, Diddy's lawyer. Brendan Paul said, yeah, I did. And you did also play at UNC, which I guess is the University of North Carolina, but the pandemic ended that. He said, yes. And you weren't just a substance mule, were you? The prosecutor objects, but the judge lets the question be asked. He said, no, I was not just a substance mule. Brian Steele said, so it was like just a minor part of what you did? Brendan Paul said, absolutely. I did get substances for him, but it was just a minor part of my overall job. So remember,
But it was part of
Brian
your job,
Steele is the one that's
which
really
is the
pushing on
point
this
of the
personal assistant versus job assistant. He did the same thing with the last assistant, which was Jonathan Perez. And he's basically trying to make it seem like Diddy's employees, who were afraid to be fired at any given moment, were just like for fun off the clock getting substances for Diddy. But that's just not what was going on, in my opinion, based on what, my personal opinion of it. But Brian Steele is really pushing hard to try to make this be the theory. He's like, the substances you got for Diddy, those were for personal use, weren't they? Again, trying to make a difference between personal and business, because if it was under the guise of employment, Diddy, it's not looking good for the RICO. So the judge is like, you can't ask that like that. You need to rephrase the question. You can't say, oh, you just got substances for him for personal use, right? Like, what other kind of substances would it be? Like, for business use? Like, of course, Diddy was going to say, like, oh, it's just for me and my hotel nights. But this guy was a personal assistant, which was his job. Like, just because you're a personal assistant doesn't mean that you, don't have workplace protections or that what you're doing isn't still your job. So you have to rephrase the question. He says, okay, were the hotel nights personal? The assistant U.S. attorney said, objection, Your Honor. What is this? He's trying to get the jury confused on the issue of personal versus business. The judge said, true. Stop asking that. Rephrase. Okay, new question. This is Diddy's lawyer. It was Diddy and Jane, relaxation, personal, right? From your observation? Yes. Did you ever see Jane as hesitant to have a freak off or a wild king night? Brendan Paul said, no, I never did. I never saw her as hesitant. Okay. If you ever saw any non-consensual activity, you wouldn't have worked there, right? You would have quit. Objection, Your Honor. What the hell? What even kind of question is this? And the judge is like, exactly, like, what are you doing?
I don't feel good.
Stop asking that. Ask a different way. The judge is like, sustain the objection. Okay, fine. You wouldn't work for a criminal, would you? And Brendan Paul's like, no, but obviously what he's already testified to, he would, because he knew criminal activities were going on. If he didn't know that, he wouldn't have pled the fifth, because you only plead the fifth to stop from incriminating yourself. If you could also be charged for it, you can't be charged for something that you don't believe is a crime. You can. A lot of people don't know something's a crime and they're charged. But do you see what I'm saying? This guy had the mental state that there was crimes being committed. And again, y'all, I don't know. I wasn't there. But this guy's saying he was picking up substances from One Stop. He was picking up from Baby Girl and this and that. He was, the substances is really the big one. He was carrying substances on a plane. He got arrested. And so it's if you were carrying those substances and you got arrested, but those substances were for the person you worked for, then it's a crime. So it's actually not credible or true that you, quote, would not work for a criminal, because clearly, based on the logical chain that I just laid out, in my opinion, if any of this is true, I don't know. Personally, I wasn't there. Then he would work for a criminal, and he, in fact, did. And didn't even snitch because he wanted to show his loyalty. So this kind of makes him look a little bit wishy-washy and like maybe he's not telling the full truth. Do you care about your reputation? Brendan Paul said, yeah. And you were arrested for 27 grams, just barely personal use. And this was a mistake, right? Brendan Paul said, yeah, all that's true. It was a mistake. It was just a small amount. I don't know how many grams is grams. I've never been around it, y'all. I don't even actually know if I've ever even seen cocaine in real life. Like, maybe I have. I can't think of a time where I actually saw it with my eyes. So I really don't know what is a gram or 27. Like, that seems kind of like a lot to me. So Brian Steele's like, it was just a little baby amount, barely personal use. It was a mistake, right? And he said, yeah. And your case was dismissed.
Baby amount?
Did substances make Diddy more focused? Okay, so now Diddy's the victim. He needed to focus on his work, so he needed to do the drugs. And Brendan Paul said, yeah, he did get very creative when he would do the substances. Okay, next question. As you sit here today, Brian Steele says, are you indebted to Diddy? Brendan Paul said, for the most part, Brian, I had good experiences working for Diddy. I personally didn't see this monstrous side of him. You know, he did fire me a couple times for no good reason, but I mostly had good experiences working for him. And Brian Steele says no further questions.
Bro,
So then they go into a sidebar and they come back.
So ridiculous.
Now they're on redirect. Now we're on redirect, and the prosecutors are off to a rocky start on their redirect. First question on the redirect. So this is going by quick, y'all. They might rest their case today for real. Did you know what was happening in the Wild King nights? Objection, Your Honor, Brian Steele said. And the judge is like, can you rephrase the question a little more specific? Okay, were you there at the Wild King nights? He said, no. What did you believe the $5,000 was for? No, Your Honor, objection. The judge agrees. He's like, you can't just speculate about $5,000, but if you have some type of proof, some type of evidence, some type of factual knowledge, you can do that, but you can't speculate on what you thought the $5,000 was for. Okay, rephrase the question. Did you give Diddy $5,000 cash in another context other than before a Wild King night? No, said Brendan Paul, I did not. And you said you wouldn't work for a criminal, right? Right? See, the prosecution's picking up on the same thing I picked up on, and it does make him look not credible, because it's like you would work for a criminal, and you did, in my opinion. Because what Brian Steele's really asking Brendan Paul to do is to make a judgment on whether someone's a criminal or not. So it's kind of like him saying, Diddy wasn't a criminal. So if you're doing that, then here comes the prosecution to rebut. And the prosecution says, well, you said you wouldn't work for a criminal, but you bought illegal substances for Diddy. Brendan Paul said, yeah, I did. More than 5 times, but it was less than 10. Okay, so then a criminal, but only 5 times. Like this testimony or whatever, but on Inner City Press, but I'm going through each of the sources to see if we can get some more information. Logan Paul. I don't know why I keep almost calling him Logan, because it's like Logan Paul, Brendan Paul. It like kind of has a similar like cadence. Okay.
Can you
he
see my
was
crotch
asked
on there
directly
or not?
if he was some sort of substance mule, and he responded, absolutely not. He said he personally did handle substances, but it was minuscule amounts.
You can see red, but you can't actually see my crotch.
16 ounces of MJ tree flower is not a minuscule amount, y'all. That is a federal amount. That is a federal amount. That is a lot. A pound, that's not minuscule, y'all. That's not minuscule. And it seems to me like I'm not even sure how a person could even use that much for personal use in that time frame.
3.5 grams is an
ounces a month? That's 2 ounces a week? 2 ounces a week. That seems like a lot. Anyway,
a lot of people in this
but he says he would only personally handle minuscule amounts of drugs at a time. He understood that those were for Diddy's personal use. That's a lot. Okay, I might not have, knowledge about all these different substances, but I know that 16 ounces of MJ is a lot. Okay. He recalled his time
grams in
as a student athlete.
16 and 20,
for just a
what is
moment,
it? I don't
he was
remember.
brought back to some more cheerful days of his life as a walk-on for the vaunted Syracuse Orange basketball team. Under cross-examination by Diddy's lawyer, Brian Steele, Brendan Paul was asked to confirm that he was an all-ACC academic team member. That means he had good academics as well as being good at sports. He played 2 minutes in the final game of 2020, a March 11th victory over North Carolina at the conference tournament. Okay, so he finally, golly, this poor kid, he finally started playing the basketball. He finally got some time on the court in 2020. And this is the same month everything shut down because of you know what. And he played the final, he played 2 minutes in the final game of 2020, the last game of 2020, because, everything shut down. They didn't get to play the next game. The tournament was canceled due to the C-19. So he was finally just getting his shot to play. And that was it. And a lot of people's dreams and hopes were dashed in this way during that time, who were in school, students, people missed graduations, they'll never get back, stuff like that was very sad. Okay, he testified that Jane was not forced. Oh, man. He testified Jane was not forced into the hotel nights. But how could he know? He wasn't privy to everything going on in the back end. But this is just his opinion, his belief. He said she wasn't forced to spend the nights with Diddy. Was Jane ever sorry? I don't know what that means. Or not a willing participant? And Brendan said, absolutely not. I understood her to be completely willing. Okay. And then he also denied that his work amounted to being part of a criminal enterprise. Like, you wouldn't have joined a criminal enterprise, would you? And he was like, no. But I mean, it's not really up for him to decide. Frankly, it's not really up for us to decide either. The only people that are really going to be able to tell us, and it needs to be unanimous, that there was a criminal enterprise indeed going on, and in fact, whether or not this guy, Brendan Paul, was part of it.
Goes like this.
Brendan Paul can have his opinions. Brian Steele and the prosecutors can have their opinions. But at the end of the day, the only person's opinion really matters is going to be the jury. But it's important, for what it's worth. This guy is saying
a lot of
this
shit
wasn't
is
a criminal
just
enterprise. I would never
conjecture and
join a criminal
speculation
enterprise,
and
but,
rumor. But he's not on trial for the gay shit.
It.
So when you're on trial, they only talk about things related to what you're being charged about. They do not talk about literally anything else. So you're not going to hear about a lot of stuff that did go on in his life because they are centering the case around the victims and their testimony. So he is being charged with ST and sexual abuse and racketeering, and using his corporate enterprise to facilitate his trafficking of adult actors and sex workers and stuff like that. So that's what the case is centering around, and that's all they're going to talk about because that's what the victim's testimony is in relation to. They don't have concrete evidence or victim testimony yet in other things. Like, there are still lots of things that he could theoretically be tried for and accused, go get whatever the word is, arraigned or whatever, where they bring him up on charges. So we'll see what happens.
He says that his March 2024 arrest was a, quote, mistake. The substances came from cleaning Diddy's home. He testified that in March 2024 at the Miami, y'all always make fun of me on how I say this, Opelika, I don't know how to say it.
Opelika, good job, yeah. Right.
Executive airport, so it's like a private airport. He was arrested there on charges of possession of suspected cocaine and suspected MJ candy, so like gummies or candy, like edibles, according to a police report. Now, his arrest happened on the same day that federal agents conducted search warrants at Diddy's homes in LA and Miami. Prosecutors later decided to only charge Brendan for the possession of the cocaine. And then they did drop that charge later, and he did that diversion program. Now, in his testimony today, he said he was arrested on possession of cocaine, and he was on his way to a family vacation with Diddy, and the substances were found in his bag. Goyard, okay, so we got a new brand on our hands. Goyard. I think that's the one that's like the little chevron kind of thing. And y'all, there's like a whole politics with these bags, right? It's like a Chanel is not the same as a Bottega Veneta, and then the Gucci stuff can't have stuff. The Balenciaga can't have stuff in it that's supposed to be going in the Gucci. There's a whole little system going on here with these different things. He said, quote, "I was sweeping his room," I guess it means Diddy's, "and I put it in my bag and I forgot it while I was packing. And then when he was asked during cross-examination by Brian Steele, Diddy's attorney, he said, Brian Steele said, it was a mistake. And Brendan Paul said, yes, it was a mistake."
Oh, my butt's on fire.
How does Brendan Paul feel about Diddy? He said it's complicated. His job with Diddy landed him in handcuffs, and now on the witness stand in a high-profile federal criminal procedure, trial rather. Yet, when asked by the prosecution how he felt about Diddy, he didn't really have a quick or definitive response. "It's complicated," he said. Then he was allowed to leave the witness stand moments later. Okay, so now we moved on finally to the next witness. This is another special agent. This is a Homeland Security Investigations special agent. His name is Special Agent Joseph Cerciello. He's on the stand. Now, what is he an expert in? Hopefully we'll get a little more information. We have a lot of updates here from CNN. Okay, this is the most recent one we read. I think we have 5 updates from CNN, 4. More information about Brendan Paul and what he testified, which I do want to make sure that we cover. He testified he didn't tell law enforcement about the cocaine and who it was really for because of, quote, loyalty to Diddy. The jury saw a selfie of Diddy and KK. And also Brendan. So Brendan Paul, KK, and Diddy were in a selfie together, and the jury saw it. This was a selfie from a private jet taken on
my glutes.
The same day he was arrested. So whenever they were like, is this the day you were arrested? And they showed him a picture. It was a picture of him with KK and Diddy from a private jet on March 25th last year. Before Brendan Paul was arrested for cocaine possession at the airport, they were about to take off on a flight to the Bahamas for a vacation with Diddy's family. Brendan Paul testified he hasn't seen or spoken to Diddy basically since that photo was taken. So they taking pictures. They about to fly to the Bahamas. They think they about to go on a vacation, and then move, everybody down, give me that bag. And then he never talked to Diddy again. He testified that he didn't tell law enforcement that the cocaine wasn't his that day. When asked why, Brendan Paul said, I don't know, some type of loyalty. He said one word, loyalty. Now, Brendan Paul testified that the charges against him related to the incident were dropped. Why? Why were the charges against you dropped? He said, because I have a really good lawyer. I guess they were trying to get him to say because I got immunity or because I was a cooperating witness, but he just said because I have a really good lawyer. That's why they were dropped. And he does appear to have a really good lawyer who told him to say that to that question, answer that to that question. He completed over 20 drug classes, and he also submitted random substance tests while he was on his diversion program. And then attorney Brian Steele stepped up. Now, he did say when he was on the stand that his handling substances was only a minor part of his work. Brian Steele did the cross-examination, asked him about his background. Brian Steele mentioned that he worked on the Syracuse University basketball, he played for Syracuse Orange. He confirmed he does work hard. He strives for perfection. He said he was willing to work long hours for Diddy. And he did learn from the exposure that he got to the music industry through Diddy. He confirmed that his handling of substances was only a minor part of his job while he worked for Diddy. And Brian Steele said, "You weren't some drug mule, right?" And Brendan Paul said, "Absolutely not." He said he believed the substances he obtained were just for Diddy's personal use. And then Brian Steele asked if Brendan thought Wild King nights were also personal for Diddy. And we get a quote here. This is something we haven't read before. "I considered it to be like an escape," Brendan said. He confirmed that he believed it was Diddy's personal time to be alone with Jane. And he testified that he often spoke with Jane, one of the accusers, one of the witnesses from this trial. And he would speak with her often before Wild King nights. Almost every time he talked to her afterward, he confirmed he never saw anything that made him think that she was hesitant or not a fully willing participant. He says his heart dropped when a special agent, discovered cocaine in his travel bag. During cross-examination, Brian Steele asked Brendan Paul, former assistant, about his arrest last year, March 2024. Brendan confirmed his arrest was for a small amount of cocaine for Diddy's personal use. He just accidentally left it in his bag. Neither Diddy nor KK asked him to travel with it. He said, "Nobody asked me to travel with it. I just left it in there and it was just an accident because I was cleaning up, for Diddy, and I was trying to hide this. So I put it in my bag. I just forgot I had other stuff going on." He recalled telling law enforcement everything in the bag was his, and then his heart dropped when the agent pulled the cocaine out of the bag because he did not mean to travel with it. He says for the most part, working for Diddy was fine and good. Defense attorney Brian Steele asked Brendan Paul, a former assistant for Diddy, if he would work for a criminal. Brendan Paul said, "Absolutely not." Then Brian Steele asked if Brendan Paul felt indebted to Diddy for all the experience he received working for him. Brendan Paul said, "I guess. What do you mean by indebted?" Brian changed the question and said, "Well, you learned a lot from Diddy." And Brendan Paul said, yeah, I learned a lot from him. And then Brian Steele said, "Did you have any good experience? Did you have good experiences working for Diddy?" Because a lot of these assistants have come up and said, "I had a great time working for Diddy. He was a little bit mean to me, and, he threatened me to release tapes of me at a party or whatever. But I had a good time working for him, and he made me a man or whatever." So I guess Brian Steele might have thought Brendan Paul was about to say the same thing. But those other people weren't dragged through the mud and called drug mule for the last year and a half or so, like Brendan Paul was. So he might have some different feelings. But he even did say, it's complicated. My feelings working for Diddy, it's complicated. So here it's like, Brian Steele's like, "You had good experiences working for Diddy." And Brendan Paul did say, for the most part. So there was some not good, but yeah, for the most part, I had good experiences working for Diddy. The cross-examination then ended. Christy Slavic came back up on the redirect. Brendan Paul says his feelings toward Diddy are complicated. On redirect, Christy Slavic, the prosecutor, assistant U.S. attorney, asked Brendan Paul what he believed was taking place during the Wild King nights. He said, "Well, I thought there was sex happening and partying." And we've learned partying doesn't just mean having a party and having a good time and being at a party. It means taking substances. According to, who said it? I think Capricorn or Jane, I think it was Capricorn. Brendan Paul also confirmed that he was not present inside the hotel rooms, so he didn't have any way to know what was going on. And says he did not know definitively if anything illegitimate was happening. He didn't know really what was going on in there. And then the prosecutor said, "Sitting here today," and I'll remind you, you're under penalty of perjury here, and you can be prosecuted if you lie. So just reminding you about your order to testify truthfully. How do you feel about Diddy? He said it's complicated before he was excused from the witness stand. Okay, Let's go to Inner City Press and see if they've started with that special agent. Yeah, they did. Okay. Government, you may call your next witness. So just to remind y'all, we're on Inner City Press's Twitter.
There are some places. There are some places.
Sorry, that was my old land. You remember when I lived on my land and I had that girl that lived on my property, my renter, who was like the coolest fucking teammate ever? Oh, damn it, I left the window open. It's raining in my clothes. Shit, Heather. Sherry, the lady who was living on my land that I rented a spot out to for a while. She's my absolute closest real life female friend. We talk all the time. I mean, we go a long time without talking to each other, and then we talk to each other and it's as if no time has passed. You know, we both live this type of lifestyle where we're like off grid or semi off grid, and we both do very physical things, you know, building things, and she's like me. She's so cool and I love her so much. And so anyway, she was calling. I was telling her about what's been going on with my stomach and how, you know, she knew I was sick to my stomach a lot back then too. But I told her that I was taking so I don't know if you know about this stuff. I can't say the name of it. But if you know about this stuff, you should definitely consider trying that. And
Yeah,
also,
I'm a leading lady. So I know
and
there's some
also
exhibits that were
the other one that was popular around the same time as this one was popular. If you are having issues, I mean, like, everyone in America has parasites. It's just a fact. And that's the intestines have like a okay.
Yeah.
Good job.
So don't worry about it.
I didn't know. I didn't go to I did not have a colonoscopy, no. Because they wanted to put me totally to sleep. And nobody prepared me for that. Nobody prepared me for that. And so I chickened out. Yeah, Papa Kilo, literally, I am a completely different person. And the reason is because that was not who I am. That was me going through the absolute hardest time in my entire fucking life. Hands down. That what I was going through, what you guys literally watched me experience, was the absolute hardest experience I have ever gone through in my entire life. Literally, ever. Ever. I have never gone through that much. I've never been in anything like that before. So, that's not who I am, you know? I am not a person who just yells all fucking day long. I'm loud, but I'm not. It is just, dude, Elliot is all over the place, man. He is literally so hyperactive and all over the place, and that's perfectly fine. If I'm not, like, literally, like, everything that goes wrong could be fatal for us, which is what we were in, that situation. If one thing went wrong, we could die, and it's not a joke. And the systems that I was operating with were not sustainable. I was supposed to live like that, literally, for like a month or two before I got things fixed. I lived like that for 3 years. That was the absolute worst thing I've ever gone through. And I would not wish that on my enemy. Ow. Of course it gets all fucking twisted. 'Cause if it can catch on something, it will. Anyways, yeah, so that's why I was trying to convey that, like, this is not me as a person, this is me during a, like, really fucking bad time, you know, but people want to go around on the internet talking about, like, oh, mental health, and, oh, it's a fucking ableist, you're an ableist if you fucking, you know, you don't give people all the fucking room for their bipolar disorder. But when someone is literally having an absolute literal mental breakdown, those same exact people pile on and try to destroy my life. Pretty interesting. That one particular girl, she's still, dude, they're literally, I just got a fucking message from someone yesterday saying that the Subliminal Locks T channel immediately started following them, because so they're just literally every person that I follow on the internet, that they're going behind me and following, so that the person goes and sees. Do you think, do people actually do that, go and look at who's following them? Do you do that? Do you go and look at everyone who's following you? Because I don't. I never check my follower count. Unless it's like right, you know, it's like right there when you load your screen. So that's the only thing I know. But I don't see who's following me. I mean, it's cool though, because she just keeps digging her grave, dude. She just keeps digging her grave, and you can't erase, once you put something on the internet, you can't erase it. So the harassment that she's continuing to do after all this time, she's just creating more evidence for me in the long run, because things always come full circle. Like, even if it's like 10 or something years down the line, one day something will be resolved, you know what I mean? And so it just doesn't make sense to me to go around so openly, like, stalking and harassing someone, you know what I mean? Because you're gonna be found out. Someone messaged me, it was a fucking trap. Someone messaged me about, I don't know, 3 weeks ago on TikTok, and they gave me a bunch of personal information about my stalker, Crystal. They started telling me, like, oh, this is her ex-husband, this is the things she did in Montana, like, this is the stuff, blah 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 blah. And so I know that she, do they genuinely think that I'm like them? Because I'm not. And I even told the person in the messages, I was like, I'm not gonna go and, like, message her ex-husband. I'm not gonna go, like, looking for her family and, like, her child, and, like, I'm not like her. And so, like, this information is great and I appreciate it, you know, like, maybe it'll help me in the future. But, like, I'm not going to take what you're giving me and then go and, like, start making videos about it, or, like, talking about, like, these people. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do it. I'm just not. And the reason that I know that it was her is because I laid a little crumb of a trap. I laid just a little crumb just to see if she reacted, and she didn't react. So I know that it was her that messaged me. And, you know, I don't, she wants me to, like, fight back, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it because guess what, babes? Literally, I get it. You're sitting home with nothing to do all day. I get it. But I'm busy. I have, like, a whole life that I am existing in, and I am so fulfilled with my own self-created stressful things that I'm not going to go looking for things to, like, why would I do that? Doesn't make any sense. So then she could turn around, and because she's got the energy and the whatever to go drive all the way to Eugene, Oregon to try to fucking. My phone will not stop ringing today. I'm exercising and on a live stream. I just got finished cleaning up the house a little bit. And then I'm going to head to come and get you in about 40 minutes.
Your phone's at 10%, by the way.
My phone is at 10%.
Yeah, just wanted to give you a heads up.
Oh, thanks for telling me. Appreciate that.
So,
Your locations tell you? You got an
the
alert?
slinky can go about 3 feet long at max stretch point.
Yeah, that's its max stretch point.
Yep. But the tiny one, yeah.
That's cool.
And for $1.25, not too bad.
Not too shabby. Oh, I'm so excited to see you.
Our hamper broke.
Huh? Your clothes hamper?
Yeah.
Well, it's only like 100 years old.
We had to buy. Wait, what about more? We had to buy a new one. It's really nice.
You should get the one, they have this one on TikTok that collapses and is made out of hard material.
No, we got a replacement, and it's made out of fabric, and it can fold up.
Yep, that's what I was just gonna say. The one that I saw on TikTok is hard plastic, and it doesn't, like, it's not like the one that I have where it just constantly folds down even when it's full. But it like folds up and slides in a small space.
This one's a circle.
Cool.
Kind of like my slinky, but with panels.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Full stretch point, and then you just close it up.
That's exactly what it is, buds. Just like your slinky.
So yeah, while we were there, we didn't find the paper at the first place, but we did find a cool shelf in the second place. At second, me and my dad were walking out before we walked over to grab a hamper, that hamper that we got.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this tiny little piano.
You saw a tiny little piano?
A kid's piano, yeah, a tiny baby piano in it. And then when we got to the checkout, all of a sudden a grown man started to play the tiny baby piano.
No way.
It was like bling, 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 bling. It was hilarious.
That does sound hilarious.
I meant to show my dad, but I forgot.
Oh well.
I saw his head, but I'm saying I forgot to show you the piano up close. Yeah, Mom, what's the thing we're not doing?
Gonna come get you.
Oh, when?
Josh, he says that when he wants to talk, but he doesn't know what to say.
I actually don't know what to say.
See, I know.
But we have a surprise for you when you come over.
You have a surprise for me? I have a surprise for you when you get here.
I mean, like, the surprise, it's something. The only hint I am giving you is it's something. I got 2 musical items. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I only have musical items, or the 2 items that I got.
You have musical items? Did you ever find the ukulele?
It's not here. It's there. I know for sure.
Nope.
It's in that little bag
Nope.
where your banjo's out.
No, the banjo-lele is, but the ukulele isn't.
Yeah, the ukulele's in that bag.
No, it isn't.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it's in there. But yeah, I'll show you. Okay, I'm only telling you one of the musical items. That's it. Okay.
Okay.
It's a harmonica by Melissa and Doug, the same people that my train track was made from.
Okay. Did you get that at the Goodwill?
Yeah, that one was at the Goodwill. The other musical instrument we got at St. Louis, and you're gonna have your 9 blown. We did have a coupon and it got $7 off.
Okay. What is it?
Well, you gotta wait till you come here.
Okay.
See, when are you gonna come over?
I'm gonna leave here in about 40 minutes.
Okay. So, since that's actually a long while away, I'm just gonna tell you.
Okay.
It's a guitar.
Nuh-uh.
I got a guitar.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, I got a guitar. Oh, no. Can we go on video?
No, I'm on my watch.
Dang it.
Oh, dude, yes, I had that appointment at Verizon. Oh, you know, yeah. We're going to give you up to $150 to $200 for your watch, depending on the condition. And the new one's only $330. I'm like, wow, okay, so take $200 off of $330, that's $130. Over 36 months, man, that's only like $3 a month. And she's like, oh, it's a promotion. The plan's only $5 a month. Get there, and in all reality, the plan is not $5. It's $750. They were going to give me $150.
Oh.
They were going to give me $180 for this watch, but that's what brought the price of the new watch down to $330.
Uh-huh.
And then they wanted $39.99 right there.
Yeah, that you always have to pay.
And then they wanted to add $35 to my first bill plus the new thing. So I'm like,
Yep.
no way. This is getting
It's called
out of hand.
activation fees and stuff like that. There's always there's always a $30. You always have to pay taxes the day of, which is usually around $30.
There's no taxes here, so don't do that.
Well, it's taxes and fees or whatever, you know?
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, so it did not happen. I reset this watch and then I walked away because I was like, yeah, I don't have $40 to give you right now. And they're like, here's an estimate of your next bill, $211. Yeah.
Oh, that's
No,
like
I'm
low.
crazy. Well, no, my bill's $124.
My bill is
So
like
they're like,
$380.
oh, it's gonna add 35, and then it's gonna add the watch payment and then the bill.
Yeah, see,
payment.
it's
But
tilted
it's
so
like,
far.
added
The bus is
$80-something. Math didn't work out. I'm like, nope, I'm good. Walking out.
Mom,
Well, I hope you were nice and you weren't rude.
your camera
No, I was just like, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have all the
My
money
camera's
to do all that.
frozen.
Like, no problem, yeah, I'm sorry.
doesn't have to be on. I want you to see the guitar.
Yeah, I can't do it on the watch no matter what.
Why?
I don't know. It just won't let me.
Oh, dang it. I want to show you.
Is it working now?
Apple Watch is like, it can do FaceTime. I don't know if you don't have a setting on, but you got like the best Apple Watch there is.
No, it doesn't do FaceTime. It does audio FaceTime. It doesn't do video FaceTime. So,
Okay.
that's just what it does.
I did want to show you. That's all.
Well, I'm going to have to see when I get there.
So, it's a first.
Or you could take a photograph, and if you send me... Where's my sockies? Or you could send me a photograph.
Yeah, it's a first stack. It's pink with some like flower decals on it.
It's freaking cold in here. I wish I had long sleeves clean. I need to do laundry. Maybe we'll do laundry today.
For green. You hear me, Mom?
You're going to paint it green or pink?
No, I meant it's already pink. I meant to say green.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Dad, you want me to take a picture of it?
Okay, yeah, maybe.
Well, the Apple Watch does not.
So how are some people doing it?
Told you.
So which Apple Watch has a camera though? Because they're saying no Apple Watch has cameras. Yeah, they do. There's one that has a camera where you pull the wheel out and there's a camera in there.
I guess that you might have dreamed that, because I've never known of an Apple Watch to have a camera.
Okay. Huh.
But yeah, I just wanted to show you. That's all.
Okay. I love you.
Yeah. Richard.
Can't wait to see you.
Take a picture of that
Yes, man.
second time.
Yes, I can.
He's trying, buddy. He's looking at something first. And you have the camera in your hand.
Say this is literally in your hand. I mean, you can sit here and do it.
You can access the camera without the code, buddy.
There you go. Okay. Just to get it. Life's about other people. It's not all about.
No, you don't. You just hit the button on the photograph and you can send it right from the photograph.
But did you get it?
Of course you didn't get it yet, but I literally just clicked send. Have some patience, please. Okay, yeah, so you can use a third-party app, and there's a certain wristband that you get that has the camera in it. Okay, so you can do it. You just have to get the certain wristband.
A certain wristband? So the wristband is the camera?
The wristband itself has the camera.
Okay, so see, that's different. That's aftermarket.
Yeah, so I said I know I've seen people doing it. 100% I've seen it.
Well, I have never seen that.
Okay, and then, yeah, what's this other one where you pull the crown out and there's a freaking camera back here?
But yeah, have you seen it yet?
Nope, I haven't gotten it yet.
Have you still not got it?
It takes a time for things to go through. It hasn't come in.
So, Mom,
Okay. Whoa, cool. What's the, oh, that's, I was like, what is the Cameo band? I couldn't see you. It looked like someone's hand or thumb with like a band, like a camo band of, or like a little keychain type handle thing in their hand. I didn't even see you. I love that.
I wasn't in the picture.
You are in the picture.
Oh. Well, Mom,
Yeah.
when you come over here, could you, maybe take me, or could we maybe go to the, mall?
No.
For what?
Any record
No,
player?
I have to do, tomorrow I have to work around the property. I have to do yard work and get all these blackberries by the bus cleaned up.
I'm saying today.
And then I was thinking about going swimming, but we'll see how it goes. It's raining right now.
Bye.
No. I live very far away from that kind of stuff.
My dad brought
Good
me.
chance to go into
All right, listen. No. I don't live like that. I don't live in town. So I do at home hobbies and activities, okay? But I already have some stuff in mind to do with you, okay? So just trust me. And I'm on a live, so don't say where things are. So I can call you back or I can let you know when I'm on my way. It's only going to be about 30 minutes now.
All I
Bus
wanted
is
to do
tilted
was
so far.
quickly run over and grab it. That's all. It comes with 3 records for just like $5, maybe $6.
Mm-hmm. No.
The main thing I'm gonna go there for is to see how much it is.
No. I'm not gonna go to the store or Goodwill or anything like that. We might go grab some groceries. And we need to do laundry, so those things we'll be doing.
Okay, so the video that I saw where the guy pulls the wheel out and there's a camera in there, it's a fake Apple Watch Ultra.
See?
No, it's an Apple Watch Ultra. It looks exactly like it, but it's not made by Apple. But there's a camera in the wheel. You pull the wheel out, and then you rotate it around until the camera's facing you or away from you, and then there's your camera.
Can I see?
I think we're looking at it right now.
So it's like a Raspberry Pi inside of a glass case.
There's a camera. That's freaking, yeah, I was gonna say, no, I see it. Like, I know I didn't dream this to make it up. Like, I know for a fact I saw this. Because I was like, oh, cool, the newest Apple Watch has a camera. That's pretty sweet. Awesome. But no, it's not real.
I would buy that fake Apple Watch.
Yeah, it's only $40.
Yeah, so that you could be tracked. That's cool. By who knows
The thing
who.
is, for $40, it's
Orly's
the
dreaming.
exact same thing, and you get a camera.
Orly's
And
fighting in his dream.
Android control center. Yeah, right there. Right where my pinky's pointing.
Can I put him on backwards?
I'm fiddling with my fidget spinner.
Can't see it. I'll struggle and try and figure it out.
Elliot, help your dad. He's literally visually impaired.
It's the phone that you're using. That's mine. That's right in front of you. I'm asking you to hand me.
Elliot Marshall, it doesn't matter. You need to help your dad out. You cannot be lazy.
Problem with the fidget spinner.
I almost finished with the
It's called being considerate. It's just being considerate in general. That's like the thing. So if you see someone struggling, if you notice it, it's because God is making you notice it. So that means you're supposed to do something about it. So you notice it, it's your responsibility. Same goes for trash on the ground. I've told you that 1,000 times. Doesn't matter if it's yours. Doesn't matter if it's your fault or your responsibility or your specific chore. If you notice it, do it. If you notice it, pick it up. If you notice someone struggling, assist them in some way if you're able.
Oh, they messed up something on my fridge.
Elliot, that's BS. Your fidget spinner can be restarted.
Didn't mean fidget spinner. I was literally,
Don't want to hear it. It's all excuses. Your dad asked you a few times, and you ignored him on purpose.
I said, let me finish.
Just stop thinking. Stop, please. Thanks, man. Okay, there we go. It worked that time.
Listen to this. Conventional Telegram co-founder says he'll leave $17 billion fortune to his 106 children.
Oh, yeah?
106 children!
There's a face in the wood.
What?
There's a face in the wood.
Yeah. Come on.
So you can see it. Well, the one I was just talking about.
Hey, you outside? They find it over there, guys? Clearly, man.
I know what you're talking about.
You just saw it. Said there's a face in the woods. And you said, what face? And she said she's taking a picture, and then now sending it. Now you're like, what picture? I can just say, are you following along here?
It's intentional. He's becoming a teenager, Josh.
Oh, twice. What am I looking at?
To the left,
I see.
it looks like a scream mask with its mouth open.
I don't see that.
On the left dot, the left dot is the right eye. The hole is the left eye. The bottom dot is the mouth. If you turn it sideways, it looks like a cat with its alien eyes. Yep. All right, bud. I will see you in about an hour and 30 minutes. Yeah, you'll be able to see. You'll get an alert when I leave the house. I love you. Peace and triple. Okay. Peace and triple. Bye. Oh, I feel that in like my hip rotation area, like the socket, not like where it normally hurts in my pelvis actually. Normally it hurts here, but, or like right here, but that was like in the socket. Must mean it's working. Oh, my left hip is starting to pop. Man, those girls who do that dance thing where they squat down and bounce around and shit, that must really take a lot of muscle tone. Good night, Papa. Have a good night. The way it burns more when you're making sure you're like in the right places. Oy. Lord Jesus. I just want those muscles that like curve right here. I want them like, oh, you can't see it. I love those muscles. Those muscles are the only reason I wear shorts, so I can look at them. They're getting smaller, I think. Everything's all swollen right now, though, from being extra massaged. Oh. Oh, this arm is not like going backwards like this. Oh. Well, this definitely does what it's intended. Holy frig. I can feel my shoulders doing the thing. This one really struggles going back like that. This one is much more flexible. I can reach quite high on this one. But this is the one that curves forward that doesn't do what it's supposed to. This is the okay shoulder, and it's like not as flexible without like force. Oh. Alright, I should probably consider getting ready to go and get my bow. I wonder if I have any clean clothes. Is that my hair tie? Sure as fuck is. Oh my gosh. Are these... what? I guess I'm gonna wear jeans. I don't remember the last time I wore jean pants like this. Last time I wore these. $2021 or something. They were too big for me for a really long time, so now I can finally fit them again. All right, t-shirt. Oh, but wait. I'm gonna wear this. Almost just died. put it on back. How the fuck did I put it on backwards? I literally saw the tag. Okay. How stinking cute is this dress? Actually, whatever that's called. Jumper. Or whatever. Okay. Oh, I needed to vacuum my house. Forgot. Should vacuum really quickly before I go get Elliot. He's gonna have stuff with him. Okay, I guess not.